Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we talk about all things financial literacy. And today, we're going to be talking about Navy Federal Credit Union, the top common denial reasons, there will be 10 of them, and how you can make sure that you never get denied again. Now, these are 10 reasons that I found that I was denied when I first became a member of Navy Federal, and I applied a few different times, and I was denied quite often throughout my first year. However, I kept all of the letters and I just put them all into one envelope. So I had like a few different letters of why I was denied. And on each of them, they pretty much told me exactly what happened. And I just kind of used that to really give a lot of information out. And I just want to share that so you can, maybe navigate what your denial reason was. And that way you can make sure that in the future you get approved. Let's talk about these key factors that you have to look out for when you're trying to get approved for Navy Federal, their consideration reasons, and what can you do to make sure that you do not get denied again in the future. So if you're watching this video, I'm assuming that you were recently denied for something with Navy Federal, and you may have received an adverse action letter. Now, everyone will get this if you've applied for something and you've been denied. You also get another letter if you've been approved as well. So either way, you probably have seen this letter on some occasion or a type of letter like this. Navy Federal will tell you what the factors were for making their decision, and it should state key factors that adversely affected your Navy credit score or Navy Federal credit score. And again, I collected a few letters over the past year, and I'm just going to tell you what the common reasons were why I was denied for, every possible reason. Before I do that, I want to address a couple of reasons that really don't have anything to do necessarily with Navy Federal, but they have to do with your credit score. And this is something where it's not going to be action that you can take with Navy Federal to increase your chances. This is something that you have to do with your TransUnion FICO 9 score. So let's briefly talk about that, because that's going to be the first three things that I want to discuss. So after a credit application is denied, you'll receive, again, what's called an adverse notice from Navy Federal. And these are the three common denial reasons that have to do with your TransUnion FICO 9 score if we're talking about the personal side of Navy Federal. So if you have a denial letter or adverse action letter and it says 1, serious delinquency, 2, missed payments, or 3, too few accounts currently paid as agreed, the only thing that you can do with that is to remove the derogatory information. So if it's a charge off, then we have videos on how to remove that. If it's a collection, we have videos on that. And if it's late payments, we also have videos on that. You can check those out in order to get that information either updated, deleted, or removed in, whatever way, form, or fashion that you need to get it done. If your application was denied by Navy Federal due to this type of information on your report, you have 60 days after you receive that adverse action notice to request a free copy of your credit report, and then you can contact the reconsideration line if anything does change. But read through your report carefully, make sure that you understand and agree with all the information that's being reported. If there's anything that you don't agree with, again, dispute that information. Now, the next 7 reasons that we're going to be talking about for you being denied or actionable things that you can take with Navy Federal, and 1 or 2 of them may have to do with credit scores, but they're very easy to correct. But most of these will have to do directly with something that you need to do with Navy Federal. Okay, now we've gone through the first 3 reasons that really have to focus on the TransUnion FICO 9 score. We're going to focus on the reason that has to do with Navy Federal and your account. So balance status of Navy Federal accounts. You may have gotten a letter that said one of the key factors in making their decision on whether or not you were approved had to do with the balance status of your Navy Federal accounts. If you receive this, you can be denied for having a low balance in your checking account and your savings account at the time of application. When I first opened my account with Navy Federal, that was one of my first mistakes. I did it within like the first week that I opened the account. I had around $100 in my checking, $100 in my savings because I was relatively new at the time. The easy way to combat this, very, very simple. Open a flagship checking account. As you guys know from a couple of videos that I had the one about the flagship credit card, the one about the internal credit score. You want to have the flagship checking account. It is the premier checking account that you can possibly get with Navy Federal. I recommend that you have that. You also want to open a savings account. It doesn't have to be any particular one. It can be the shared savings. It doesn't have to really be, any particular one, but you do want to have a savings account open with that checking. So you want to deposit at least $1,500 in your Navy Federal flagship checking account. You don't have to do this all at one time. You can do this over the course of, let's say, 3 months, 500, 500, 500, however you see fit. Now, the way that I came up with this number, because I have no way to, confirm it, but some things don't have to be explicitly said for me to understand exactly what I need to do. So, for example, if you don't want to have a monthly service fee with your flagship checking, you need to have a daily balance of $1,500 or more. If not, it's $10 if it's less than $1,500. So that tells me that Navy Federal is trying to do one of two things. Either they're going to require me to have $1,500 so they can probably be able to use that money as collateral to then lend out money. That's how they're going to be, I guess, making money off of me, then the interest off of the collateral that they use to give out loans and other products and services. They're requiring me to have at least $1,500. That's me doing my part. If I don't do that, then they'll charge me $10. That's just me basically paying them, which is another way of, I guess, me doing my part. So in some way, when you're a member of this credit union, it's almost like you have to do something to really help them with their bottom line, which in turn will make you look better for them. It's almost like when you're really good at your job and you get a promotion, right? And the promotion can be, well, when I ask for something, I get what I want, or a pay raise, however you see it. But the point is, you have to do one of two things in order to really look good. This is one of the easiest things that I think that you can do. Now, when it comes to a savings account, I don't know of any particular amount that I think that you need to have. But what I will say is if you have $1,500 in the checking, I recommend you put $1,500 in the savings. If you do have a money market savings account, that is the account that earns dividends. You need to have at least $2,500 deposited into that account as a minimum to earn the smallest amount of dividends. Now, when I see that, that tells me, okay, if I open this account, I should at least put $2,500. I should at least put $1,500. Now, again, I have no way to confirm that that is true, but based off of, I've worked in financial institutions, based off of what I know, based off of the information that they pretty much gave me, this is what I would think would be the requirements in order for you to meet that balance status when it comes to Navy Federal. The next one is going to be insufficient variety of secured loans. Now, in your letter that you got from Navy Federal, if your adverse letter, if you were denied, you may have seen this as a reason. Insufficient variety of secured loans. Now, this doesn't mean that you were denied for not having a secured loan, but that does let you know that Navy Federal does use this as a key factor that they take into consideration when deciding whether or not you get approved. Even if you have a good credit score, even if you have good credit, you should still open a secured line or loan with Navy Federal. Just as a show of good faith, you should do that, even with good credit. Easiest way to correct this, open a pledge loan. Super easy. It's the easiest way. Now, this will not only help your credit score, especially if you're rebuilding, it'll strengthen your relationship with Navy Federal, thus increasing your internal score. And you can do one for a very small amount. $250 will get you a pledge loan for 6 months. Now, again, with the pledge loan, I've said it before. I have a video on the pledge loan if you want more information on that. But I highly recommend that you do a pledge loan for at least maybe 3 years or so. I would do a longer one. The longer the pledge loan is, the better it is for you, because 35% of your credit score is on-time payments. The more on-time payments that you can get, then the better your credit score will actually be. And the easiest thing that you could possibly do is use a pledge loan. Getting a pledge loan is really like you transferring money to yourself. So you can get a $20,000 pledge loan. If you had $20,000, you could pay that pledge loan all the way up to $19,900, and you could leave $100 in there. And if you decided to do a pledge loan for the next 15 years, that's just going to be 15 years of on-time payments that you're going to get. And you don't have to pay that last $100. They'll tell you when's the next date you have to pay it. It'll be several years down the line, but you just basically secured a 15-year on-time payment loan that's guaranteed to always be there. I think that's one of the simplest things that you could do, and it'll greatly help your credit score. And no matter how good your credit score is, I mean, age is one of the hardest things to obtain, and that's something that you pretty much are locking it in. So I think it's one of the easiest things that you can do. All right, the next one is going to be length of Navy Federal membership. Now, again, if you have that adverse letter, you've been denied, you probably see this in one of those key factors, length of Navy Federal membership. Now, if you're a new member, you probably have had your Navy Federal account less than 90 days. This is a common denial factor that you will see on your adverse letter. Easiest way to correct this, just wait 90 days. That is an easy way for you to fix this. You wait 90 days before applying for credit cards or loans. In the meantime, here's what you can do. Get a pledge loan. You could even look at a certificate or some other products that you may possibly get that don't technically require a hard inquiry. Like, again, certificate, pledge loan, those don't require you to have a hard inquiry in order for you to get them. Now, these products will increase your internal score, and they'll also help build your relationship while you're waiting those 90 days. Even if you're someone, again, with good credit, let's say you wanted to get a credit card. This may be the difference between you getting an $8,000 starting limit and getting a $25,000 starting limit. That just by taking a little bit of time, being patient, and doing a couple little small things that really make no difference to you, it can really increase what you can get approved for, even when it comes to things like auto loans. So I would highly recommend that you just consider waiting, again, good or bad. And if you do have a bad credit score, or let's just say low credit score, if you have negative information, you really just want to get that off. That's going to hurt bad. Just, if you can, get it completely off. But if your score is low, maybe like a 650, 630s, that range, I would even say wait 6 months if you want to just give it a little more time. Length of membership does actually matter. So just consider that when you're, deciding exactly how you want to combat this and exactly how you want to get started. But take your time, let that length of membership just increase, and then start applying, and then you can choose how you want to do it after 90 days based on your credit worthiness. Okay. All right. Direct deposit status. Number 7, direct deposit status. Now, we talked about this, but there's actually plenty of different reasons on the Navy Federal website where it's almost like they kind of tell you that you should set up direct deposit. But this is not just for Navy Federal. It's pretty much across the board for any financial institution. Everyone wants you to set up your direct deposit. So this is another key factor. And if you don't have it with Navy Federal, I highly recommend adding that as soon as possible. Reason being, when you set up direct deposit, it does a few things for any bank or any credit union or any financial institution. It lets them know, one, you have stable income. They know that they're going to see a deposit in this account every 2 weeks. Every bank, credit union, they want you to leave money in their bank because they can leverage your money in order to do other things and make money. So basically, you leaving your money in any bank does help them financially. They want you to keep it there. You also want them to know that you are stable. And you don't have to put 100% of your paycheck there. You can go to your payroll and you can set up a predetermined disbursement. And I used to do this with my checks. I used to take it and I would just move I would take my checks and put them into 4 different accounts. One of them would be for bills. One of them would be for, personal stuff. And the others would just be so I had a certain amount going into each account every single month. And it would be easy. I would know every time I got paid, there was one card that I can spend whatever I want on. This is my discretionary spending card. Whatever is on this card is what I can spend for the next 2 weeks. I can't spend anything else. And then I would have that account that would pay my bills. I know exactly what my bills are. My bills don't fluctuate. That account is going to always have my bills every single month and pay my bills. I never had to look at bills. That's the easiest way that you could do it. Set up the direct deposit for Navy Federal, and then you can have just money going in and you never have to really think about it. Just sit the money there and park it, and just let it stay for however long you need to accomplish whatever it is that you need to accomplish. Now, if you're self-employed like I am now, you can set up a payroll. You can do it through Gusto, ADP, etc. I recently set up my payroll. I have a video on that if you want to watch it. It shows you how to pay yourself through your business, but I recently set that up and received an email from Navy Federal letting me know, hey, your direct deposit is set up through your employer. And then they show me, like an increase in whatever an increase in my cash rewards because I had direct deposits set up once again. So, that's pretty cool to be able to see that. And again, you can be your own business, pay yourself as an employee. It will still count as direct deposit. I don't know of any other way to know if it's set up or not. I just knew because I got notified. I would suggest calling Navy Federal if you're unaware if you have it set up, or if you weren't notified through an email of some sort, to see if you have it. I had some people ask me if they're like independent contractors or they drive Lyft or Uber or things like that. Does it count? When I don't believe it does. I think it needs to be set up, like deposited electronically, but I can't really confirm that. I would call and I would ask them. All right. Now, this is one of those other ones that I was talking about, kind of had to do with your credit report, but it is credit inquiries. But the reason why this is important is because if you have a lot of credit inquiries, it can appear that you're credit seeking, which can look risky to Navy Federal or any bank, to be honest. So I have videos on here, very straightforward. Everyone has seen plenty success with this, that shows you how to remove your hard inquiries. So everyone should probably be aware. And if you're new to this channel and you're not familiar, check my videos. I think it's my second or first video that I ever made on this channel. Just go to the videos, go to oldest. It'll be right there. Or you can just search it, type it in, remove hard inquiries or delete hard inquiries. It's going to be there. Now, do not remove hard inquiries for accounts that you actively use. I want to make sure I said that. I do say it on the video, but I say it at the end. But if you have an account that you're currently using, like for example, if you have an auto loan, you have your car is, on your credit report. It's a good account. You're paying it on time, right? You want to get the credit for those on-time payments for that auto loan. Do not remove the hard inquiry for that auto loan. Reason being, there is a chance that the account will stop reporting to your credit report if you remove the hard inquiry. Now, does that always happen? No. Have I seen where people have had accounts that stopped reporting because they removed the hard inquiry? Yes, it happened to me. Now, will it happen to you? I can't say for sure. If that's, if you want to take that risk, then go ahead and take it. It doesn't always happen. I've removed some other inquiries where nothing happened, but then I've done it and it has. So I'm just warning you. That's up to you. Yeah, that's your discernment. I can't tell you what to do and what not to do, but I'm just giving you a heads up that is a possibility that can happen. Okay. This does not apply to business credit cards. Business credit cards don't show up on your credit report, your personal one, except for a few of them like Capital One. But for the ones that do not, you don't have to worry about that. You can remove those. This is only in regards to inquiries where you were denied and accounts that don't report to your personal credit. And if you so choose to do that, then go ahead. And if it happens, call the credit bureaus. That's what I had to do. All right. Number 9 is going to be proportion of loan balances to loan amount is too high. Now, if you have a loan balance where it's too high, like, for example, if you just got a brand new auto loan, for Navy Federal to state this, they must have some type of ratio or algorithm. Now, I don't know exactly what their algorithm is. I have no idea. But again, like sometimes things don't have to be explicitly said for me to understand. So if they're saying that it's too high, clearly there is a ratio that they are using. So if you just got a brand new auto loan and you haven't made one payment on it yet, then obviously it's gonna, if it said that the balance is high, if you were denied and this was one of the reasons, maybe wait a few more months for the balances to come down slightly. Maybe wait 4 months, 6 months. We don't know for sure what it is, but that's what I would recommend. Just wait a few months, especially if it's brand new. I mean, give it at least 3 or 4 months to get some payments on there. And if the current one that you have is too high, but it's on a credit card, like it says revolving balance is too high, pay your credit card below 10%. That will do it. Pay your credit card below 10% or increase your credit limit on the credit card to reduce your utilization ratio. That'll reduce it if you increase the limit. So if you have a $1,000 limit and then for some reason it goes to $10,000, you now have a 10% utilization ratio. So that would do it too. So you can either pay down your balances, and of course, if you have like a mortgage, an auto loan, just give it time. Because of course you're not gonna, unless you just want to, like, this is an extreme example, but I can actually fall into this myself. I can pay an auto loan down up to the very end of it. Like I'm in a position where I could do that, and I probably will. But if you can pay it down to where it's almost nothing and you chose to do that, then you can. But I would just give it time and just let it pay down naturally. If that was a reason you were denied, then just give it time. All right. And number 10, the length of time that accounts were established. Now, the length of time that a revolving account or account has been established is something, again, you can't really do too much about, but you want to consider this. Depending on what you're applying for, apply for the account that's most important to you first. If you apply for an account that you like, for example, if you really need a credit card account, maybe you want to focus on getting that first and then applying for your auto loan. Or maybe you want to get your auto loan first because that's more important. It just depends, you know. But consumers with limited credit history on their credit report because of short length of time, you have not yet demonstrated that you can, repay these accounts. You don't have a long repayment history. So as time goes on and your file starts to lengthen, the impact of these things will not really affect you as much. What I can say is, as long as you get an account, at least a new account, in my experience, past 6 months to the first year, it's usually okay after that. The longer you have it, the better. 15% of your credit score is history. So you'll have to just wait some time for those accounts to become established. But that's why my recommendation when it comes to getting accounts, the reason why I like Navy Federal as a personal credit card is because you can get this one credit card and you can get that limit up very, 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 very high. So you can keep this same credit card for, I would say, the next 5 years, and you can just keep actively increasing the limit. That is easy to me. In my opinion, that's a very easy thing for you to do, as opposed to trying to get 5 or 6 credit cards, and every time you get it, it shortens your credit history. If I need higher limits, I have business credit cards that don't show up on my personal credit. But again, you don't want to have a thin credit profile. You don't want your credit profile to be thin. So you do need to get some, you want to have a few different types of accounts, but you want to make sure that you get some length in time. So if you, at some point, there's going to be a period in time where you can't be like crazy credit seeking and you have to just give these accounts time to get old. There will be a point. From my experience, your credit score, when you get like a 760 or 80, it seems like the only thing that can help your credit score go up is time. It's like that's the last category, is just length of time, payment history. This is another reason why, again, that pledge loan, if you get it for 15 years, why that can be so helpful, because it doesn't give you all the payments up front, but it's like you locked it in already. It's like you don't have to do anything. You already will get these on-time payments for just transferring money around, essentially. But yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. These are the factors that I had when it came down to my Navy Federal for denials. I would hope that you can take this information. If you received your adverse letter, check it out and see if that information was on there, if any of these were on there. If they were, drop a comment, let me know what your adverse letter said. Going off of that adverse letter and making the adjustments on that letter will help you to get approved, and you will not get denied if you address the things that are on the letter. It's very important to read over that adverse letter and look at what they're saying. Missed payments, derogatory accounts, delinquent accounts. Hey, there's a bunch of resources on this channel that you can use that should help you deal with those. Anything else that has to do with, Navy Federal, like more specifically to Navy Federal, you now have the information that you need to at least know how you can address it. And to get more specific, if you don't have an adverse letter yet, apply for something. If you get denied, then you can get the letter. You know that you can remove the hard inquiry. And then based on what that letter says, you can come back here and you can say, okay, I'm going to do A, B, and C. This should be good. Wait a little bit of time for those changes to take, effect, or to report, or whatever those changes are, and then apply again. And then you should be approved. If this helped you, please share this information. If you found this valuable, then please like and subscribe. And you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching.